welcome back to Actual English. My name is Jennifer Clyde. It is time for lesson 63. We have come a long way. And since we talked about being a cat person or a dog person, today let's talk about actually taking care of pets. So taking care of pets or raising a pet is a huge responsibility. It's not just about getting a pet, bringing it home, and just looking at it. There's so much to do. So I think it's very helpful for children. It's good for their mental health, people say. So, yeah, when it comes to taking care of pets, what can you think of? If you are a pet owner, you would know a lot more about taking care of pets. But I would say, let's say, for example, you get a dog. Now, what do you have to do for the dog? You have to feed it. You have to bathe it. You have to take it to the vet, meaning the animal hospital. You have to spend some time with it. Or if it is an active breed, a very active breed, then you have to take it out for walks, exercise with them, play with them, maybe clean up after them. There's so much you have to do. So we'll talk about that today. Okay, are you ready? Let's get started.
So Peter, when I was younger, a lot of my friends learned about responsibility through owning a pet because there's so much they have to do for taking care of them.
Sure.
And I was wondering if that was something you thought about for Gio, about teaching responsibility when he gets older.
I've never thought about that before. And I think having a pet is not a decision to take lightly, right?
That's true.
It's a huge responsibility, like you said. And Gio, he's far too young at the moment. So maybe when he's older, maybe going into middle school or something like that, I'll consider it. And I think you're right. It is a great way to teach kids about responsibility. Because if they don't do the things they need, then basically that animal's life depends on it, right?
Exactly. And there's so much you can learn from taking care of a pet, right? You have to bathe it. You have to feed it, obviously. Yes. If it's a dog, you have to take it for a walk and give it exercise. You know, and I think you can learn a lot about yourself when you're taking care of a pet, too.
Sure. But you need a lot of free time as well, right? Because some people think, oh, you know, a pet is so cute, and they just get it on a whim.
Right.
And then, like, a few weeks later, they're like, wait, I didn't sign up for all this responsibility. So I think you need to be careful that you've got enough family members to, like, share the load.
Right, exactly. And you have to be committed, too. Because I think a lot of pets can be abandoned later because they realize it's too much work. Yeah. So there is a lot of commitment to it. But when I was younger, I had baby chickens. Baby chicks.
Wow.
Yes. And they're not too bad to handle because they kind of just run around free in my backyard. But there were things that I had to take care of, like feeding them. And we kept them in the garage late at night. And what they would do is they would kind of go to the bathroom everywhere. So I had to clean all that up. Okay. And that wasn't fun.
But that taught you about responsibility.
Yes, exactly. Because like you said, their life depends on me taking care of them. And if I neglect them, then they'll have a short life.
Absolutely, yeah. So having a pet, I think it is a big responsibility, but when kids are ready, it's definitely good for their education, right?
Yes.
Okay, everyone, what did you learn from today's actual talk conversation? Peter and Rachel talked about the responsibilities of doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and the list goes on, but they did mention towards the end of the conversation that perhaps raising a pet as a child could be good for the child's education. I would have to agree with that too. I think it helps children kind of give up a few things for other people as well. It gives them a chance to learn about responsibility and lots more. Anyhow, let's get started. Okay, let's take a look. Now, Rachel says in the very beginning of today's conversation, Peter, when I was younger. So, you can tell instantly she's going to tell a story about herself, about her past experience. When I was young or younger. Now, if you want to talk about maybe years ago, if you are still young right now, perhaps you're in your 20s, even your 30s, you're still young, so you can say when I was younger. Perhaps maybe if you're in your 60s or 70s, you can talk about your 20s by saying when I was young. Anyhow, when I was younger, a lot of my friends learned about learn about what? Responsibility. Wow. Through owning a pet, or by owning a pet, or from owning a pet. This is just a way of talking about your experience, doing something and learning something from that experience. So she's talking about her friends learning about responsibility by or through owning a pet. And then she asks, is that something you thought about for Gio? So who is Gio? Gio is Peter's little boy. He says, I've never thought about that before. And I think having a pet is not a decision to take lightly. We'll take a look at that later on, but to take lightly. I think it's very similar even in Korean. 가볍게 여기다, 가볍게 생각하다. Same thing. If you take something lightly, you're thinking about something very easily, carelessly. You're not giving it much thought. You're not thinking about something seriously. Okay? 가볍게 생각하다, 가볍게 여기다 in English would be to take something lightly. Okay? So he's saying, now, having a pet is not a decision to take lightly. It's not a very easy decision. You should think a lot about it. Okay? Now he says it's a huge responsibility. It is. It's a big responsibility. It's a huge responsibility. Like you said, and Gio, he's far too young. You can say he's too young, but far too young is just a way of stressing the fact that Gio is very, very young. He's way too young. He's far too young at the moment. So maybe when he's older, okay, maybe going into middle school or something like that, I would consider it. Consider means to think about. So he's saying maybe now, at the moment, Gio is way too young. He's far too young. But maybe a few years later when he is in middle school or something like that, high school, when he's older, I would consider it. I think about it then. And I think you're right. It is a great way to teach kids about responsibility, right? A great way meaning, right, to raise a pet. Now, Rachel says, and there is so much you can learn from something. From ing form, we'll take a look at that pattern later on. There's so much you can learn from taking care of a pet, right? You have to, and then she talks about what you have to do in order to take care of a pet. You have to bathe it. Bathe, B-A-T-H-E. We take showers. We can also take baths. That's B-A-T-H-S. You can take a bath, B-A-T-H. But bathe itself means to take a bath. So you have to bathe it. In other words, you have to give it a bath. You have to feed it. You have to give it food. And if it's a dog, okay, if it is a dog, you have to take it for a walk, okay? Take for a walk. Or you can say you have to walk the dog and also give it exercise, okay? And then she says, and I think you can learn a lot about what? Yourself when you take care of a pet too. I would have to agree too. You can learn a lot about yourself when taking care of a pet. You can learn that you are a very calm person or a very aggressive person. You can learn that you are a very patient person or the very opposite. So it's a chance for you to learn about yourself as well, okay? Moving on. Now Peter says, but you need a lot of free time as well. Yes, you need a lot of spare time. Free time meaning extra time. Time that you have on the side. And then he says, because some people think a pet is so cute. They think a pet is so cute and they just get it on a whim. Okay. To get something on a whim or to do something on a whim. On a whim basically means to do something very quickly, very suddenly, okay? Almost impulsively, without giving it much thought. Okay, we'll go over that pattern later on too. I have some sample sentences. So here he's saying, some people think, oh, it's so cute, and they get it, meaning buy the pet on a whim, just suddenly, just like that. And then like a few weeks later, after some time, okay, they're like, wait a minute. I didn't sign up for all these responsibilities. Now, of course, you can sign up at the gym by signing up, signing a few documents, and by doing so, you would become a member of a gym. But here, I didn't sign up for these responsibilities mean I didn't promise all these responsibilities, okay? So he's just talking about how in general, some people think a dog or a puppy or a kitten is so cute, they buy it, bring it home, and then after a few weeks, they think, oh no, what did I do? I don't have all this time. It's too much responsibility for me. So I think you need to be careful, okay, that you've got enough family members to what? To share the load. Share the load. Load here means work. A lot of work that needs to be done or the work that you have to do. So you can say, I have a heavy load of work to do means yeah, I have a lot of work to do. Here, share the load means share your responsibilities. Share the work, okay? Do the work together. Now, Rachel says, right, exactly. And you have to be committed. Now, if you commit to do something, you are promising to do something. You are committed to finish a task or to do a task. And then she says, because a lot of pets are abandoned later. Why? Because they realize they are the people, okay? People realize that they're too much work. Yeah. Now, they here are the pet owners. And they here are the pets, perhaps. So the people, the pet owners realize that the pets, the dogs and the cats are too much work. It's too much responsibility. But when I was younger, okay, one more time she's talking about her past experience, I had baby chickens. Even better, chicks, okay? Baby chickens, well, they are chicks. Dogs and puppies, cats and kittens. Baby chickens would be called chicks. I had chicks when I was little too. One grew so big, I did not know what to do with it. Anyhow, she says, well, they're not too hard to handle. Now, hard to handle, okay, but they're not. So she's saying they were easy to raise. They were not too difficult to take care of. We kept them in the garage late at night, and they would kind of go to the bathroom everywhere. So I had to clean all that up. Let's take a look at go to the bathroom. To go to the bathroom, what does that mean? Of course, it means to actually go to the ladies' room or the men's room or the restroom, or in British English, they say toilet, go to the toilet. But here, we're talking about the actual action of going to the bathroom. So here's saying the chicks would go pee-pee or poo-poo everywhere. They would go to the bathroom everywhere. Now, she had to clean all that up. But Peter says, but that taught you about responsibility. That meaning raising a chick or chicks. She says, yes. Why? Because their life depends on me. If something depends on you, your decision is very important. Their life depends on you, meaning if you take care of it, they will live longer. If you abandon it or don't take care of it, they could live shorter or die very fast. And then she says, if I neglect them, it's a similar word meaning to ignore, okay? If I neglect them, if I don't pay attention to them, then they will have a short life. They could have a short life, meaning they could die very, very fast. Moving on to the very end of our conversation, Peter agrees by saying absolutely, certainly. So having a pet is a big responsibility. We're talking lots about responsibility. He says, but when kids are ready, when kids are ready, it's definitely good for what? It's good for their education, right? And Rachel seems to agree, so she says yes. So yeah, it is a lesson learned by a lot of people that actually have raised pets in the past and perhaps even raise pets now. It really is a huge responsibility. You need to give the pets your time, your energy, your effort, and most of all, I would say your love. So once again, as I mentioned, I think it'd be great for children's education. Whether you agree or not, let's take a listen to actual talk one more time.
So, Peter, when I was younger, a lot of my friends learned about responsibility through owning a pet because there's so much they have to do for taking care of them. And I was wondering if that was something you thought about for Gio, about teaching responsibility when he gets older.
I've never thought about that before. And I think having a pet is not a decision to take lightly, right?
That's true.
It's a huge responsibility, like you said. And Gio, he's far too young at the moment. So maybe when he's older, maybe going into middle school or something like that, I'll consider it. And I think you're right. It is a great way to teach kids about responsibility. Because if they don't do the things they need, then basically that animal's life depends on it, right?
Exactly. And there's so much you can learn from taking care of a pet, right? You have to bathe it. You have to feed it, obviously. If it's a dog, you have to take it for a walk and give it exercise. You know, and I think you can learn a lot about yourself when you're taking care of a pet, too.
Sure, but you need a lot of free time as well, right? Because some people think, oh, you know, a pet is so cute, and they just get it on a whim.
Right.
And then, like, a few weeks later, they're like, wait, I didn't sign up for all this responsibility. So I think you need to be careful that you've got enough family members to, like, share the load.
Right, exactly. And you have to be committed, too. Because I think a lot of pets can be abandoned later because they realize it's too much work.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of commitment to it. But when I was younger, I had baby chickens. Baby chicks.
Wow.
Yes. And they're not too bad to handle because they kind of just run around free in my backyard. But there were things that I had to take care of, like feeding them. And we kept them in the garage late at night. And what they would do is they would kind of go to the bathroom everywhere. So I had to clean all that up. Okay. And that wasn't fun.
But that taught you about responsibility.
Yes, exactly. Because like you said, their life depends on me taking care of them. And if I neglect them, then they'll have a short life.
Absolutely, yeah. So having a pet, I think it is a big responsibility, but when kids are ready, it's definitely good for their education, right?
Yes.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for actual expressions. As always, let's begin with some vocab words and some phrases. Now, we have lightly, as we had to take something lightly in today's actual talk. Let's first of all take a look at lightly, okay? What is light? It is the opposite of heavy, and light, 가볍다, right? So, if you think of something lightly, it means carelessly, with a lack of concern, easily, or without trouble, in other words, very easily. Now, let's take a look at to take something lightly. It means to do something casually and not to think about something too seriously. You're not giving it much thought. You're taking something lightly. To take lightly in Korean means 가볍게 여기다. That's right. Okay, let's take a look at, now, in today's actual talk, there was you have to be committed. Okay, so you can commit to something or commit to someone. They have different meanings. So let's take a look at to commit to something. It means to say you will definitely do something or take care of something. Now, definitely is the key word. If you commit to doing something, you are committed, meaning you will definitely do it or take care of it. Now, what about if you say you are committed to someone, a person? It means to have a long-term relationship with someone, a serious relationship, okay? Or it means also to marry someone. You can be committed to someone, meaning you're all for that person, okay? So they have very different meanings. Let's take a look at garage. Now, Rachel did talk about how she had chicks and she kept them in the garage and they would run around at night and go to the bathroom everywhere. Now, the garage is a very easy word, 차고, but just in case you have a difficult time pronouncing it. Now, the pronunciation is garage. Garage, as you see here, it's not 게러지, it's garage. Two more times, garage. Garage. In British English, I heard they often say garage. Okay, so that's a very different pronunciation, but here we have garage, so keep that in mind. Okay, let's take a look at some patterns then. We've got 3 for you today. The first one is to learn about something by or through or from, and then add by doing something. Or you can also add a noun as well. I have some sample sentences for you. Let's see. I learned a lot about orchids from killing a few. Okay, I learned a lot about orchids from killing a few. Now, this does not mean that you intentionally, purposely killed the orchids, but you maybe bought orchids, but you ended up killing them. So through that experience, you learned a lot about orchids. Okay, 난. Okay, those are flowers. And also, you can say, I learned about responsibility. Now, through experience and encouragement. So, this is what you can say. Let's try this together just once out loud. I learned about responsibility through experience and encouragement. Okay, let's move on. Our next pattern is to share the load. To share the load meaning to do something together. Take turns or helping one another out in getting something done. The load here means work itself that needs to be done. So my sister and I shared the load by taking turns. Now, if you take turns, we're saying there's A and there's B. One day A does it. The other day, B does it. So you're switching back and forth, back and forth. You take turns doing something, okay? 네가 하고, 내가 하고. 어제, 오늘, 내일, 모레. Okay, so taking turns. Let's take a look at the next one. We had to share the load. Yeah, break it up, make it simple, and then explain. I cooked. My sister did the dishes, okay? And my father took out the garbage. You are sharing the load. Okay, there's work to do, but you share the load by taking turns or doing things little by little, dividing up the work and working together. One more pattern, to do something on a whim. Think of whim, whim, okay? So to do something on a whim means to do something very quickly or suddenly, impulsively, without thinking much about it. Here are some sample sentences. My father bought a car on a whim. What does that mean? He bought a car, right, on a whim without even thinking much about it. He walked into a car dealership. He looked around for maybe 2 minutes and he said, I'll buy that car. You could say he bought a car, or my father bought a car on a whim, very quickly, suddenly. One more sample sentence. He left on a whim. You could finish right there. You can also add without even saying goodbye, okay? So we can tell that this person just left suddenly without saying goodbye. 그냥 인사도 안 하고 훅 가버린 거죠, okay? He left on a whim. He left on a whim. One more time. He left on a whim. Very quickly, suddenly. Okay, job well done.
I think when you have a pet, like people often don't realize how much effort it takes to like take care of your pet, wash it, and also pets can get sick, get like some disease, and then you have to take them to the veterinary, and you know, also you have like to go buy the food, take them out, especially if it's a dog, you have to walk them, and a lot of people like take a pet because oh it's cute and it's fun, and then they're surprised how much effort you have to put into it. So like that's why I think some animals sometimes you see they don't look really happy. I think people like take them, they're cute, they have fun a bit, and then so much effort, so much burden, they stop to take care of them because it gets boring, repetitive, and you know, people are busy, there is work, eventually you have kids and stuff. So I think it's really important like people are careful when they take a pet because it's a big responsibility and you should take good care of it.
Now, in today's actual story, Jonas did mention something about responsibility. We're talking lots about responsibility that comes with raising a pet. But as we are talking about taking care of pets, yes, he did mention some very important points about that. I have selected 3 for you. Let's take a look at the first one. Now, people often don't realize, okay, they don't know, they realize later how much effort it takes in order to take care of the pet. So people, he's saying in general, don't realize that there's so much effort that needs to be put in, or into taking care of a pet. One more, he says also, pets can get sick, right? So what do? And then you have to take them where? To the vet or veterinary, okay? Veterinary is just a difficult word for animal hospital, okay? Or an animal doctor is also vet as well. So when pets get sick, you have to take him to the vet or veterinary or animal hospital. Let's check out one more. You have to go buy food for them, take them out, okay? And especially if it's a dog, you have to walk them. Okay, now we did take a look at the expression to take them out for a walk. You can simply say to walk a dog, okay? So he's talking about some things you have to do when it comes to raising pets, especially if it's a dog, you have to walk them, take them out for walks. Okay, job well done, and Jonas, thanks again.
I think when you have a pet, like people often don't realize how much effort it takes to like take care of your pet, wash it, and also pets can get sick, get like some disease, and then you have to take them to the veterinary, and also you have like to go buy the food, take them out, especially if it's a dog, you have to walk them, and a lot of people like take a pet because it's cute and it's fun, and then they're surprised how much effort you have to put into it. So like that's why I think some animals, sometimes you see they don't look really happy. I think people like take them, they're cute, they have fun a bit, and then so much effort, so much burden, they stop to take care of them because it gets boring, repetitive, and people are busy, there is work, eventually you have kids and stuff. So I think it's really important, like people are careful when they take a pet because it's a big responsibility and you should take good care of it.
Well, since furry animals such as cats and dogs are perhaps the most common types of pets people have or keep at their homes, we did focus our conversation and our sample sentences and our actual story on cats and dogs. You may have different kinds of pets. Let's say, for example, if you have an aquarium at home or even a small fish bowl and you have fish as pets. You have to, of course, feed them, and also when they have little fish or babies, you need to take care of them as well. You need to clean the aquarium, and that's a lot of work. I have had fish in the past, and yes, it's not easy. Okay, so talk with a partner or a friend, a family member, or even ask questions in English, and imagine that you are doing an interview with this topic. Work on it on your own as well, okay? Next time I'll join you again with a related topic. We'll talk about the increasing number of pet owners. It's true, these days there are many, many more pet owners compared to maybe 5-10 years ago, so that is our topic to come. In the meantime, come to our homepage, find your way over to www.ebse.co.kr and swing by, leave us some comments, questions, or even some topics. I'll try to fit them in as much as I can. Okay, until next time, take care and bye for now, everyone.